Hey guys, this is Shane and welcome to my Curator of the Lost channel, and today I'm going to talk about tips for selling magazines on eBay. I've got 6 tips that work for me. Hopefully they'll work for you. You'll find them interesting and helpful. And then after the tips, I'm going to show examples of magazines that I've bought recently that I have listed, just to give you an idea of the types of things to look for. So hey, subscribe. I'm trying to put out stuff when I find it, and look forward to your comments. And with that, let's just jump into it. So, especially if you're in the book market, one thing that's often overlooked are magazines. So when you're looking in bookstores and thrift stores and library bookstores, sometimes there are magazines there that no one is really looking at. So there could be good value and really good resale there, some good profit potential. And so here are 6 tips to help you on discovering good magazines for resale. The first is subject matter. Might seem obvious, but a lot of magazines you see are your like Better Homes and Gardens, Southern Living, things like that. These things are it's gonna be they're not good for resale. Look for more esoteric things and genres, some kids magazines, motorcycle magazines, automotive, special interest, collecting. These are things, and some of the examples later will show this, but get out of the mainstream. Don't just get the big, the things that you're trying to see on the newsstand all the time. When you see kind of weird stuff, that's where you're really going to strike some magazines, some pulp gold. And things don't have to be vintage. Sometimes older magazines are dated on certain subject matter, and people like the newer editions. So sometimes you see something vintage and you're like, yes, this is awesome. A few years ago, I found stuff from the 1920s and 30s on Magic magazines, and they were like gold. But some things are dated. People don't want the old stuff. They want the new stuff. So tip number 1 is subject matter. Know your subject matter and look for the things that are not just that there's millions of them out there. So tip number 2, cost. Look for your cost. Try to get magazines on the order of 10 cents a piece, 5 for $1. I try to stay under 50 cents, even though recently I did buy some heavy metal magazines for $1 each, just because I liked them and I wanted them. But for resale, a lot of times I'm seeing magazines that are a dime or 20 cents a piece, a quarter each. And with that price entry point, you can turn good profit, because a lot of magazines on the newsstands today will be $9.99, $11.99, $14.99 for one magazine. So the resale potential on a single magazine, as well as lots of magazines, is high if you can get them at the right price. So ask sometimes if you buy a whole stack, will they give you a better price if they're 50 cents a piece? Hey, if I buy all of these, sometimes places will make you a deal. Sometimes they'll go a quarter each, or it doesn't hurt to ask. So again, cost. Get your costs down. Look for that 10 to 25 cents, 50 cents, and that gives you a lot of flexibility on pricing, especially in quantity. Which brings us to tip number 3, which is quantity. If you can sell magazines in bulk lots, a lot of times they bring really good money, especially by the year. For example, if it's 12 issues in a year, if you only have 11 of them versus all 12, if you have all 12, you get that kind of full year bonus. It'll drive more profit, more money for a full year versus a partial year. Or if it's issues that are scattered, put them together. Even though there are single issues that can be sold singly, a lot of times I find doing bulk sales are really the way to go on magazines, especially if I can segregate them a year at a time. All right, tip number 4, condition. Condition isn't everything on magazines. I mean, you can list, some people are doing these for just, reading, interest. Obviously, if it's something that's a key collectible, you have to be really careful with creases and staples and all that sort of thing. But I don't worry too much about, condition on magazines. If they've clearly been read, they might be creased. The big thing to look for in condition is to make sure that they don't smell of smoke or any kind of mildew or odors. The other conditions, especially in bulk, are forgivable, and that's built into the price. So that was tip number 4, condition. All right, tip number 5, think about your shipping. when you're getting ready to purchase or list something, because magazines are not supposed to ship media mail with the post office because they have advertising in them. So you really are supposed to do first class or priority. So think about that when you're pricing of what your shipping's going to be. I guess if it's light enough, you could still go first class, like a first class envelope, maybe with a piece of cardboard in it. But think about shipping. You don't want to sell something with free shipping and it be, you know, $10, and then even though you only paid a dime for it, you end up paying $7.95 for shipping and really kill your profits. So think about the shipping when you build into your price on your sales. Also, things like, you know, the old Time magazines or Life magazines, not Time, but Life, that are really big or oversized. Think about that, because those oversized magazines are much harder to ship. So that was tip number 5, shipping. And then tip number 6 is learn your subject matter. And the easiest way to do that, in addition to watching videos like this, is to go on eBay. You type magazines or magazine lot, hit sold, and then under sold on the left-hand side, it has filters for subject. Sometimes it has filters for the type of the actual magazine. So like, for example, I did that recently and there were 71,000 sold listings that had magazine lot in the title. Of those, like the aforementioned Better Homes and Garden, there were only like 105 out of 71,000. But you can, you know, going by subject matter, you can go by automotive, outdoors, kids, science, things like that. And when you look into that, don't concentrate just on the vintage stuff. If you see something vintage and it's awesome, more than likely you're going to know if it's a great deal or not. What you want to look for is more the modern stuff to really educate your eye, the things that you're going to see, you know, quite often in, you know, your resale places, your thrift stores and your bookstores and things like that. So you know, sometimes you have to go down to second or third page to kind of see some stuff that's more modern, because all the really high price stuff is something like from the 40s or 50s that clearly is of value, and it doesn't really help you in your everyday searches. So that's the 6 tips. We had subject matter, cost, you know, try to make sure you get your price down, look for that 10 to 25 cents and negotiate. Quantity, do years or bulk sales. Condition, for me, I just make sure that they don't have smell and odors, you know, mildew or smoke. Think about your shipping and how you're going to do that in your pricing, and then continue your research. So when you see that with your eye, you know that, hey, that's good. That's something that I want. So with those 6 tips, I hope that's helpful. But now, sometimes for me, just to see some examples, makes all the difference in the world. So let me show you some things that I've sold, that I currently have listed, that are the types of magazines that I get profit off of. So the first one, I had talked about this a couple months ago, this Winning Bicycle Racing Illustrated. I came across like 10 or 12 years of this magazine down in Florida a few months ago. I listed them by the year. It was a gold mine. I had paid, you know, on the order of 20 cents, 30 cents a copy, an issue, and I was selling them by the year. They brought 40, 50, 60 bucks a year. I have like 1 year left. So this is a great example. It was an older magazine, but it has that collectability interest. It had, you know, some of the people that follow the old racers, Gray LeMond and that sort. Checked all those boxes, and it was really good money. Per mag, they brought, you know, $4 to $5 per mag, and I'm paying 20 to 30 cents for them. So great example there. Here's something on subject matter, Mother Earth News. I only got a couple of these, but I won't sell them as a lot. I'll sell these individually because of the individual subject matter. Beekeeping. Beekeeping's always popular, so I can sell this single magazine for like 10 bucks. On that same front, there was another Mother Earth News on raising goats. Hey, this again, subject matter. Somebody will want this single issue. Instead, if I had a whole year of them, I'd probably list them as a year, but this single issue had good subject matter to sell as a single and make profit. I paid 10 cents each for these. So, you know, if I can sell them for 10, 12 bucks plus some shipping, that's awesome. Another example, I ran across a whole stack of bowling magazines several months ago. I've sold all of these except maybe like 1 year, this Bowling Monthly. And it's funny, I was in the thrift store I was looking at them, and this guy, and I'd picked some up, and it was probably a stack about this high, and this guy goes, "Hey, do you like bowling?" And I said, "Yeah, I like bowling. Yeah, sure." I guess he saw me get in the magazine. He says, "Well, there's a whole bunch more down here," and on another shelf around the corner that I hadn't seen, I had already picked up this many, but there were like this many more, and so the dude alerted me. It's kind of cool. So got the rest of the bowling magazines, made money off of them. Here's something I just picked up. Threads. It was 3 issues. I did pay 50 cents each for these, but these 3 issues will sell for 12 or 15 plus some shipping. This is, it goes over fashion, some sewing. So again, popular crafting type, interest there. 2 more. I probably will sell these together. There was an ancient warfare. Look at that, pretty cool. And a medieval warfare. Again, these will sell together for 12 bucks or so. I think on the newsstand, these things run 12 bucks each. So, even if they're light, they'll ship easy. So, good examples of the type of, again, subject matter that I would look for in magazines. Here's a fun one. I'll put this in the magazine front, but I was at a thrift store, and they had a whole stack of these Sudoku, or Sudoku, however you say it, unused, some of them large print. Well, these things, again, these are 4 or 5 bucks each on the newsstand new. And I guess somebody had turned in a bunch of surplus, and I probably got 30 or 40 of them for $1, 20 cents each. I can put these together in lots of 8 or 10 for 20 bucks. So, I'll turn $2 into $20, maybe 25. And again, that's a good 10x multiplier on your magazine sale. So I've sold this kind of stuff before on the Sudoku and the crossword puzzles. So put those in the magazine front. Here's one. I picked up some white dwarfs. Great, been around forever, fun. You get gaming, you get the Warhammer crowd, really good stuff. So this would be something, if I saw these, I'd pick them up at the right price. Here was some deluxe magazines. These were kind of almost softback books, but these were from a World War II memorial. I picked up probably a dozen of these. I actually paid $1 each for these, but they did sell. They have sold for $8, $10, $12 each. So great World War II subject matter, kind of some deluxe type magazines. Here's some 1969 Real West, ran across some old Western magazines. They're a little dirty. Their condition's not the best, but I'll sell these as a lot, and they were they're 10 cents a piece when I found them. So putting these together for 25 or 30 bucks for a dozen of them, that's great return on the investment. So this one was one that's like in the vintage class that you might see. Let's talk about National Geographics. I've talked about this one in the past, but this is The Haunted Eyes, the Afghan Girl. This is a photo issue, a more current issue, but the original was in June of 1985. If I ever see the June 1985 issue of National Geographic, I pick it up. You can sell that single copy, that single issue for 20, 30. I think I sold just a mint pristine one time for like 50 bucks. So that's a good one. National Geographic in general, the way to play those, because you see them, is like if you see last year, like 2020, you can sell all 12 of those. They might bring 30, 35 bucks, but you have to be careful again with the shipping on those. Probably go flat rate box, which they probably have to go into a large flat rate, which is like $17.95. So, anyway, not shipping media hurts you on these. But the last year, 2019, 2020, full years sell well. Sometimes you can just type in National Geographic, say 2020. Like for example, the January 2021 issue, which is a year in photos for 2020, is actually selling really good right now. It's selling for 17 to 20 bucks for that single issue. Also, you get like key issues like from the Apollo moon landing. There's key issues that sell well. So that's how I would play National Geographics. The other thing that I do with them is whenever I do see dinosaur covers, I save them and then I list them as a dinosaur lot. And you can do this with the Titanic as well. But with the dinosaur lot, I've got 3 right now. I'll wait till I get to 5 and sell them for like 25 bucks for a dinosaur lot. Another example, here's the journals, kind of in the magazine journal format. This is of American postal history. So again, something weird, kind of off the rails that I would look for. Another example of a recent one that sells well, Garden and Gun. You can get these, especially if you get them for 10, 25 cents each. It's a good magazine. Plus, you know, people love it. It sells. And then finally, like I ran across recently, a bunch of these were 10 cents each. They were more vintage 80s and 90s car magazines. And there was like Mustang Monthly. Here was, you know, Fabulous Mustangs. Hey, not to leave Chevy out. There were some Camaro and Trans Am issues. There's another Hot Rod Mustang one. And these are not the best condition, but I'll lump them together, and at 10 cents each, they'll sell, make good profit. So that's it with my examples. So we had 6 tips, some examples. I hope that you found that informative. You know, train your eye, you know, keep learning about it. And when you're out there looking at your other treasures and your books and you see a stack of magazines, you would stop and say, hey, I think I can make some good bucks off that. So hope you find it important and, you know, informative. And hey, subscribe, give me some comments, look forward to it, and take it easy.